But again, David Icke, now I've got a chapter on David Icke in this new book I'm working on, because he's somebody that's sort of backtracked on 9/11. And he, for example, in his book Alice in Wonderland and the World Trade Center Disaster, which was written in 2002, he's actually talking about energy weapons in that book.
Okay.
He mentions it either a beam weapon or an energy weapon. I forget the exact phrase he used. I've put it in my new book. And then he did another book in 2010 called Human Race Get Off Your Knees. The Lion Sleeps No More, I think, or something. And he's talking about controlled demolition. And that's odd, because I met David Icke in 2008 and I told him just what we've been talking about Hurricane Erin and stuff like that. And I was sat there in his hotel room and I had it on a laptop and I showed him and he said, "This is all about energy, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah, it is, David." And he says, "That's what I'm writing about." You know, and now he's telling people that they shouldn't argue about how the World Trade Center was destroyed. They should just agree on that 9/11 was done to you know, allow things that have happened since to happen. You know, the security measures and laws and stuff to restrict people's freedom. He's not bothered about the destruction of the World Trade Center. He's not bothered about the fact that we used a technology which could be used to generate as much energy as we all need and give us space travel. You know, because we didn't even get onto the gravity issue. It affects gravity too. There were these anti-gravity effects seen on 9/11, admittedly sort of sporadic and semi-random. But this technology also affects gravity, which was what I'd already heard from 2004 when I was reading Nick Cook's book, The Hunt for Zero Point. He talks about that. He talks about free energy. You know, they're working on this technology, Nexogens for anti-gravity, and what they realised, or somebody realised, is that these two things are interwoven. If you can affect gravity, you can get free energy, and vice versa. If you can get free energy, you can affect gravity. The two things are interlinked, and that's also seen in the evidence of 9/11. And that's what David Icke no longer wants to talk about. Alex Jones doesn't want to talk about it. You know, almost nobody will talk about it. You know?
It seems to me those people in effect of that are more worried about the perception of their followers. If they all of a sudden say, "Well, actually, it wasn't controlled demolition," they might lose a lot of followers.
Correct.
And it's more about popularity. It seems to be more about
That's exactly it. I'm glad you said that. And now I put that again, going back to this new book, which I'm going to put up for download short in the next couple of weeks. That I talk about that.
That's what I'm getting from it. Anyway.
And I think once you get into a position like Alex Jones, or anybody that has a popular YouTube channel, you don't even need to be making a lot of money from it. Once you create an expectation in an audience, that actually makes you less free in what you feel you want to say. Because you think you're going to lose your followers, and if that has a financial consequence for you, then again I think you become more limited. I've seen this time and again. Mel Fabregas is another example. He's perhaps talk about him in relation to the schools that we're going to talk about. So yeah, definitely popularity, followers.
Once they reach that kind of level, they must protect it. They want to protect that, don't they? As much as I like David Icke and a lot of puts out, there is.
Well, if you haven't really watched it, if you watch the program that Richard D. Hall made, and I sat in with him on that, he did most of the research for that program. It's called David Icke and Shapeshifting, I think it's called. If you watch that, you watch that. We pretty much went through all of that with David Icke's case. And we do think something happened to him.
In what way? Do you think
well, he was asked not to speak about certain things, or he was told not to speak about certain things, like 9/11. And he was asked, and that even when he wrote that book, The Biggest Secret, it was Ivan T. Fraser who was editing it for him, or proofreading it, or whatever. And he said, "Don't put this Arizona Wilder stuff in. This is just bogus. Don't use it, David." And he just ignored the guy and then blocked him from the forum, or at the time. And Ivan T. Fraser didn't say, "Well, I don't. I'm not trying to be nasty to him," but he was just ignoring what I was giving him good advice, and he was ignoring it.
I mean, we're not seeing David out next year, aren't we? Which I'm looking forward to. I know, but I think with people like David Icke, I mean, as long as you understand, I do believe 80% of what he says. I think it's
well researched. Well researched.
I think as long as you're aware of certain things, his position. Same with Kevin Keefe. I mean, I like Kevin Keefe's videos, and But he still pushes the controlled demolition.
He does, yeah. I've got a chapter about him in my new book.
Oh, you really?
Yes, I have, yeah, because I had direct contact with Ken O'Keefe, and I told him, I literally told him what I've told you, you know, almost the same about thermite stuff. I was on a train journey with him back from the conference, and that was 4 years ago. I've written all that up, you know, and...
it's probably the same thing applies with the
exactly the same thing, it's the same sort of thing. You know, and again, like you say, some of these people have done great research. They've taught me things, you know, that I didn't know about.
Because it's not that you're disputing these people as such on the whole. It's just that
not just university.
Exactly. And I think people get the wrong impression, don't they?
They do, and I think this is again is one of the really difficult things. Is okay, so you're interested on the truth about that issue and this issue and that issue. But what about this 9/11 issue? Why aren't you re-examining that? Because we know that this is wrong. You know, person X, and I've got again many examples of this now. There is something very peculiar going on, you know, and I get people saying to me, "Oh, well, you're the only person to be trusted, are you?" And I said, "Well, not necessarily, but I know that these other people that have said this are wrong, you know, and I can prove that they're wrong, you know. If you're interested in that, you're interested. If you're not, you're not. But don't go around claiming to be telling the truth about things when I know you're not telling the truth, and I can prove you're not telling the truth. That's what really gets my goat, you know. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but when I know that you're not telling the truth about this 9/11 issue, I'm gonna point that out to people.
Of course,
you know, because if I wasn't doing that, then I wouldn't be being totally honest about what I know.
Exactly.
You know, which is what this is about. You know, and I've been saying that for 10 years.
Everyone who's putting this information out should approach it exactly the same, no matter where they are.
Yeah.
You know, as much influence as they got. Even more so, you know. They should be able to stand and say, I was wrong about this, you know.
And I think what's at the base of that is that there is something very sophisticated going on in terms of influencing people's behaviour. And I include in that people like David Icke and Alex Jones. Their behaviour and their actions are being influenced by somebody or something, or which I don't know exactly what it is. You know, I've written that I don't know whether they're being paid or threatened or whether they're having something beamed in their heads or when they're asleep or something. I don't know what it is, but the point is they should be open on certain issues to being shown what the truth is when they're not. For example, David Icke isn't a structural engineer, he's a former sports presenter. You know, he's not got an engineering background like I have. Now, if he wants to tell me how to read the football results, you know, I should listen to him because he's done that more times than I have. But if I've got something to tell him about which is science related, he should listen to me, you know, because I've had more experience in that than he has, or not even me, Dr Judy Wood, for example, who's got 30 years of experience in that area. I should be listening to her because of her experience. Okay, should ask her questions, check that she's correct, go and do his own research to verify it, but she's the expert. You know, I've got an engineering background, not David Icke, you know, or Alex Jones or whoever. So, you know, that should be taken into account as well. You know, okay, we're not being paid by anybody to do this. We're not being paid by NIST or, you know, anybody like that to say certain things.
Financial agendas and like that, So exactly.
So,
I'm just curious about Judy Wood's court case. You said about in 2007 she had a court case. What was the outcomes and what?
Well, that really, you know, that's essentially ended in 2010. I mean, without going through all the details, you have to go through the system. In the court case, where the evidence was assembled, it was put into the court. They dismissed it in 2007, I think it was the end of 2000, maybe it was 2008. Then it was appealed. They had a brief hearing, only 8 minutes long, at the appeal court in 2009, that was in June 2009. They dismissed it again, saying that they were going to ignore the law to dismiss it because the law was changed. And they said in their ruling that, well, we're going to just ignore that change in the law, we're going to dismiss it anyway. And that was unusual because they didn't need to say that, but they did, and that's in their ruling. And then it was taken to the Supreme Court in 2010, and the Supreme Court just said, oh, yeah, thanks for your court case, but sorry, we're not going to even bother to talk about that, so bye. That's literally what they can do, they're allowed to do that. They don't have to hear any case they don't want to hear, so it was just left. But Dr Judy Wood didn't get sanctioned. In other words, if you are seen to have brought a frivolous case, then you can be sanctioned and fined for bringing a case which is frivolous. She wasn't sanctioned. Now the defence, the defendants in the case, they wanted to get her sanctioned, but their request was refused. So that is significant. When you're going up against the military-industrial complex, what's going to happen? You know, I mean, I have no. I have no illusions about what was going to happen with that case. I really didn't. But the principle is there. You know, I said at the time I would have gone to the US, you know, to testify in court if that had been an issue, and I would have paid my own expenses. You know, I would have done that because we knew that it was true. And if we can get these people under oath, these people that know something about what happened, and get more information out in a court setting, I'd do it. I'd do it at the drop of a hat. You know, but that it never unfolded like that. You know, so that was it. Really, yeah. But we didn't get any support, you see, because there were all these other people going around saying it's thermite, and Judy was disinformation. And that was done. We had, when the court case ended, there were people celebrating that it hadn't been taken through from these thermite sniffers. You know, this is how it's working. They're actually celebrating. You know, and I've written how they tried to censor this court case on the UK forum that I was part of. They tried to censor news of it. The guy Tony Gosling, he tried to censor it, putting it into this new book. You know, so. It's not like people think at all. You know, it's really tough. It's really tough to actually get this through and see the manipulation that goes on, not just in the mainstream, but in the alternative knowledge community, as I call it. You know, the alternative media. It's almost worse there actually, because you've got these people that aren't actually qualified. At least when you're in the mainstream, some of these people are qualified in journalism and have a track record of making accurate reports, even though, you know, some of the information they're given is wrong. They don't question it. At least they actually report the information they're given accurately. You know,
to the best of their knowledge.
To the best of their knowledge. You know, they may not investigate that information for its accuracy, but you know, and so forth. But some of these people in the alternative media don't even do that. You know. No. So
it's a minefield.
It is, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's not for the faint-hearted, certainly.
Yeah.